Hey guys, welcome back to the Math Bench. This week we're going to continue to build on our understanding of place value as we add and subtract within 100. Students are learning to use place value charts, disk, and the vertical form, which is our traditional method of adding. It will include regrouping, and they are expected to explain their reasoning and check their work. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're doing through lessons 8 through 12. In Lesson 8, we are going to be using math drawings to represent the composition and relate drawings to a written method. Here we're going to be taking a look at somebody else's work, and this situation is going to be Zane, and we need to decide if his answer makes sense. So let's say our problem here is 59 plus 35. When we model that, we have 5 tens and 9 ones, and 3 tens and 5 ones. If we're expected to put them all together, that is going to be 8 tens and 14 ones. However, we cannot have 14 ones in our place value. That is more than 10. And once we reach 10 ones, we have to make 1 10. We have to regroup it to the next place value. And doing so will give us 9 tens and 4 ones, and hence you get the answer 94. The focus here is explaining why regrouping works and not just finding the answer. Students are expected to use place value language like tens and ones and regrouping. However, the expectation remains the same. They are not just expected to find the answer, they are expected to explain how they got the answer and explain how they got there. On Lesson 9, we are going to be using math drawings to represent the composition when adding. So we're going to be modeling addition on a place value chart, and we have to describe what happens before and after we bundle a 10. If we start with the problem here, 46 plus 38, we have 4 tens and 6 ones, and we're expected to add 3 tens and 8 ones. This will be very similar to what we just did in Lesson 8 the day before. If we bundle them together, we get 7 tens and 14 ones. However, when we get 14 ones, we've already reached 10 ones. We've already gone past that, so we have to bundle it into a new 10. And in doing so, we'll have 8 tens and 4 ones, and we'll end up with the number 84. They are expected to fill in the sentence. Before they bundle, we had 7 tens and 14 ones, and after bundling, we are going to have 8 tens and 4 ones. This is just continuing to show the example of how regrouping keeps the total, the same, but it changes how it looks overall in a place value chart. On Lesson 10, we're going to represent subtraction with and without the decomposition of 110 as 10 ones with manipulatives. So here on Lesson 10, we're going to be using number bonds to find the missing parts in adding or subtracting. For example, here if we look at our question, we can see that we have one part that is 56, but we do know that the total is 71. Well, we can find the missing part by subtracting 71 minus 56, and in doing so, you should end up with the answer of 15. Students can also use the place value disk to check. If they have 5 tens and 6 ones, and we add 1 10 and 5 ones, this should give us 7 tens and 1 1. Because if we add the 6 ones and our 5 ones, we'll end up with 11 ones, but we need to take 10 away to move it over to the tens place in order to regroup. This is similar to what we saw in Lesson 8 and Lesson 9. In doing so, we get an extra 10. We have 7 tens and 1 1, which matches the number of 71. And overall, the main goal is just to recognize that adding and subtracting are related and that you can use one to find the other. On Lesson 11, we're going to be relating manipulative representations to a written method. So here, taking a look at this problem, we have Sherry's subtraction problem. It says 44 minus 26, and that it's equal to 28, and we have to decide whether her work is correct. To check, we can model 44 with 4 tens and 4 ones, and we can have 26 with 2 tens and 6 ones. Since we cannot take away 6 ones from 4 ones, meaning the 4 cannot handle the 6, we would need to regroup 1 10 into 10 ones. So in doing so, we would take away 1 from the 4, it would become a 3, and in doing that, the 4 ones would now become 14 ones. If we were to solve that, 14 minus 6 would equal 8, and 3 minus 2 would equal 1. So the correct answer should be 18 and not 28. Here, though, it's not about just solving the problem, it's having the students, should be able to explain why Sherry's mistake happened, and she likely did not regroup correctly. And they are expected to use these place value words such as regrouping, or if they borrowed a 10 or traded for 110 for 10 ones, or somewhere in their explanation. The goal is to reason throughout the errors, not just to find them and point them out. They need to be able to say why it's an error. Here, and lastly on lesson 12, we're going to be using math drawings to represent subtraction with and without decomposition and relate drawings to a written method. Here, lesson 12 essentially just brings everything together. Students draw a place value chart and they can model problems like 75 minus 28 using disk, chips, or even the vertical method itself. One thing I do want to highly recommend is that, yes, I know the instructions do say, to draw a place value chart and chips to help model each problem. You can also see right at the very beginning it says solve vertically. That is our traditional way of subtracting that we were taught in school by borrowing and carrying, whenever you add or subtract. So, but it is also essential that they do know how to model it. But in order to just find the answer, they are encouraged to solve vertically. Looking at number 1 here, we have 75 minus 28. You cannot take away 8 from 5. 5 is going to need help. They're going to go to the 7 to get some help. The 7 can say it can get 1. But so your 7 turns into a 6, and your 5 is going to turn into a 15. You would then have 15 minus 8, and that'll get you 7. And then for your tens place, instead of your 75, now it's a 60. 6 tens, you're going to have 6 minus 2, and that's going to get you 4, resulting in a final answer of 47. Students just have to show where they change the 110 into 10 ones and to answer it and record it vertically. Just the key idea is to ensure that they're regrouping, and knowing that regrouping doesn't change the number, it just helps us subtract a little more accurately to help us get the correct answer. And that's our week on the math bench. We practiced adding, subtracting, and explaining our thinking using place value charts and models. We also learned how to regroup and describe what happens when we bundle a new 10. These lessons help students build confidence moving between models and written equations, showing that math makes sense. It's not just the answers that we're looking for. Thanks for watching this week's Math Bench preview. Be sure to like, subscribe, and join us next week as we keep strengthening our number sense. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and I hope you have an amazing start to your week this Monday.